In this lesson, we will look at assemblies. An assembly consists of two or more parts. In an assembly, the parts are referred to as components. Bottom-up assemblies are created by adding and orientating existing parts which have been created prior to the assembly. The parts are orientated and positioned by using a feature which is called mate. Mates allow us to relate faces and edges of the parts to planes and faces and edges of other parts. Any updates to parts will affect the assembly, and in turn, any updates in the assembly will affect the parts. This is called bidirectional associativity. We will begin the assembly by opening an assembly template created using the same guidelines as we used to create the part templates in an earlier lesson. So File, New, Advanced, Templates, and Assembly Template. OK. As we know from the earlier lesson, the template has my custom settings and properties already pre-selected. So to begin my assembly, I'm going to add in my first component. So over in the Property Manager, I'll click Browse, locate my folder which is on the desktop, it's called Lego SolidWorks, and select my first component which is called Lego Base, and click OK. As you can see, I can drop the component wherever I want in the graphics area, but if I just click the green arrow on the left in the Property Manager, you can see the component will automatically locate itself. So I'm going to accept that. By doing this, the origins of the component and the assembly line up. So this is very handy because our planes from the assembly and the planes from our component will all be coincident. The first component in an assembly is always fixed. Once this component is inserted, it cannot be moved. The F symbol in the feature manager indicates that this feature is fixed. If we need to move our first component, we can right-click on the component and click Float. This will allow us to relocate our fixed component. To add the next part, we're going to move up to our Assembly toolbar along the top and click Insert Component. Once again, we'll browse for our piece. In this case, we're going to add in the green Lego block. So we'll select it and we can drop the block in wherever. The right mouse button allows us to drag our component around the graphics area, and the left mouse button held down allows us to rotate our component. So from here, I'm going to start adding in the mates. So I'm going to select the mate command in the assembly toolbar, and this opens up a variety of mates. These include coincident, parallel, perpendicular, tangent, concentric, and also gives you the opportunity to lock two components together. There are various other types of mates, such as advanced mates and mechanical mates, which we'll worry about later. So the first thing I asked is what entities I'd like to mate, and for these two components, I'm going to mate their planes. So if I open the design tree, and I'll open the Lego base first, I'm going to mate the front plane of the Lego base. So I close that down again, and this is going to mate with the right plane of the green block. And as you can see, once these two have been mated, so I'm going to accept that a coincident mate, the two pieces will line up where I want them. So the next thing I'm going to mate is the top surface of the base and the bottom surface here of my block. So the type mate I'm going to go for again here is coincident, and you can see it over in the Property Manager, and I'm going to accept that as well. Now for the third mate, I'm going to select the right plane of the white block and the front plane of the green block, and that should line our blocks up perfectly. So I'm going to click F to center the screen again. So I can accept my mate over here, click OK, and now I'm going to add in another component. So this time I'm going to browse, I'm going to add in the Lego blue block. So I click OK, and I'm just going to drop that in here. Okay, for the blue block, because of its geometry, we're going to use a different type of mate. So in this case, we're going to use a concentric mate. So I'm going to click on the zoom in and click on the outside of the blue, and I'm going to make this concentric with the outside of one of my circles in my green block. Now, as you can see, this piece is still free to move vertically. However, it'll always stay concentric, so this means the circles are the same center. My next mate for this piece is going to be a coincident mate between the face on the green block and also the bottom of the blue block. So I'm going to zoom in there and select that. And as you can see, I can just accept it here on the, and as you can see, our piece has gone into position now. If I want a third mate, I can look at the side of the piece and the edge and make them tangential. So that will give us 3 mates and will fully define our blue block in its mate. So I look at the piece, F to fit the screen again. Now part number 4, again we go to our assembly toolbar, click insert components, and we'll browse again. And in this case we're going to add in the Lego man's body. So I'm just going to open that. And we're going to drag it in and leave it in here somewhere like that. And then again with the right, we can rotate it with the right button held down on the mouse, something like that, just to move around. So the first mate we're going to go for here is a coincident mate between the top surface of the green model and the bottom surface of our red piece. So we'll just zoom in and select that. So as you can see, a coincident mate has been created there. The second one we're going to do is mate 2 edges. So we're going to mate the edge of our body and the edge of our green block. So as you can see, it's lined up something like that. And our final mate to define the green block will choose the 2 front edges of our pieces. Now if we zoom out, that's our red block added in, so we can accept that over here. Now we'll move on to our final piece, which is the Lego man's head. So we'll insert component, browse again, and Lego man's head. Once again with circular geometry, we'll use a concentric mate. So choose our mate in the assembly toolbar, and we're going to choose either one of the circles. It doesn't matter because they all share the same center. And as you can see, they're lined up there. As you can see, our piece is still free to rotate and move up and down. So now we're going to line up mate the bottom of the head and the top surface of the body. So we'll select them too. Okay, and finally we're going to choose a desired location for the face. So as you can see, the face is still able to rotate around like that. So we are going to use our third mate to line up the eyes with the body, so it's all square. So we're going to mate the front plane of the Lego man's head. So we'll just open this up in the design tree, and it's front plane we're looking for. Yeah, and we're going to mate this with we'll put it with the front plane of the Lego man's body. So as you can see there. Now there's our fully completed assembly of our Lego man tasks. That's all for this video.